Jingdong. Veronica, welcome to you. Jingdong, to you first. Can you just tell me about the work that ISSB is doing towards making sustainability data easier for companies to report?
Yes, Georgie, delighted to be here. And as you probably know, we were created out of COP26, recognizing there is urgent need from global investors wanting to have data on climate from corporates that they can use to make decisions on investment. The challenge so far is that over the past 20-odd years, there has been a lot of voluntary standards created with different ESG requirements, so much so that quite a number of multinational companies, if they were to operate internationally, they have to report under several hundred different requirements. So, and then the challenge for investor is that you just cannot compare apples to apples, right? You have to make sure that you are comparing two investment opportunities with the same data set. So there is strong recognition that it's an urgent matter to make sure we create a new global language of sustainability disclosure, starting with climate, given the urgency. And therefore, we were created almost 2.5 years ago. And fast forward, we now have two standards: IFRS Sustainability Standard number 1, S1, which is a general requirement, and S2, which is on climate, that have been finalized and became effective as of 1st of January 2024. Very happy to let you know that outside of Europe and the United States, there are a number of major global capital market centers already working on adopting. And I think one analyst, when looking at the number, says that almost half of the global capital market outside of the US is on the journey of adopting our standard. That's great momentum, but also shows the urgency that investors want to have comparable data to make decisions useful, to make global financial market much more transparent, accountable, comparable, and much more efficient.
Veronica, Jingdong mentioned there about voluntary reporting, but we're seeing, aren't we, a shift in many jurisdictions to mandatory reporting. How should businesses be preparing for that shift?
Absolutely. What we're seeing because of the momentum of jurisdictions around the world adopting these mandatory standards is be a company within one of these jurisdictions or having exposure to one of them. Just about every global company now is having to build the capabilities to deliver against these standards. And the way we talk about it with our clients, there's certainly a data imperative, building the systems to deliver the data that's needed, especially for the jurisdictions where this is now mandatory. But even more important is delivery against targets, building up the internal capabilities to achieve the ambitious plans that they have set out to do and have the results to share with investors and stakeholders alike.
Jingdong, this is a fast-moving space. What are the priorities of ISSB?
So first, our priority is to support the adoption of our standards, making sure that many companies of different sizes and capabilities feel comfortable adopting, which we call proportionality, right? If you're sophisticated, you already have the capability and you have been reporting, great. But there are companies who are starting the journey new. We have to make sure that we provide capacity building, knowledge sharing, so that they feel comfortable on one hand. On the other, obviously, is working with regulators to make sure that our international standards are adopted appropriately at national level, so that at the end of the day, we create a global baseline of language that everybody understands.
Veronica, why is this common global language that Jingdong talks about so important?
It's so critical because the challenges we're facing are global. Climate change, nature, social inequality, these are global topics. We need a global language with which investors can assess progress, with which companies can communicate progress. And of course, topics will look different in different countries and different jurisdictions, but we need that lingua franca so that we can all understand the progress we're making and where more support is needed.
And if I can add, Georgie, that investors want to support climate change, especially in developing countries. But the frustration is that corporates in developing countries are not reporting the data needed to make those useful information, and therefore having this global language spoken so the investors start to get to know those companies. That's very important. Another thing is that we are climate first, but not climate only. Now that we have completed the climate standard, we have now turned our attention to biodiversity and human capital that we are going to work on as our next standards.
Thank you both so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.